Hey babes, and welcome to Gore&Gossip. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jordan, and this is your weekly deep dive into all things terrifying. True crime cases, cold-blooded killers, and the occasional creepy conspiracy.
Plus haunted dolls, cursed mirrors, and that one time your aunt swore her house was built on a portal to the underworld.
If it's bloody, bizarre, or just plain bone-chilling, we're talking about it.
And yes, we're bringing the gossip too, because what's a murder without a little side-eye?
So lock the doors, light a candle,
and let's get into it.
Hi guys!
We're
it's been
back.
a minute.
The heck was that? Just as soon as I started, there was like banging on something. And it was not my child this time. It's probably upstairs.
I rebuke that energy.
So you guys were supposed to have an episode last week, but it did not want to upload. So we're sorry for our hiatus. We'll just chalk it up to beginning of summer hiatus that we took.
Yeah, we were both just like hanging out with family across the country, doing different things. We needed a little break.
We'll just chalk it up to just a little summer break instead.
Yeah.
We're back. Okay, so I will say we recorded and it didn't record me. So you guys didn't get your Euphoria take, and I know it's like a month overdue. So I promise we'll just keep it absolutely quick this time because we did a full rundown. We broke the episode up 30 minutes. You guys were gonna get like a 10-minute of Euphoria and then like 30-minute. No, it was like an over an hour episode, which like was like 45 minutes of actual like, you know, what you were supposed to get, and then like half an hour of Euphoria. So we'll just give a little bit of Euphoria because we're gonna do another episode that you guys are gonna get pretty quickly since you guys have not gotten anything.
Yes.
And we'll gab away in that one about other things. So we'll give you quick Euphoria in this one.
Yeah. I knew Rue was gonna die. I knew that was evident.
Yeah.
The way that it happened, I'm a little angry about. But
yeah,
I am okay with what was given to us.
Yeah. I said it. You guys don't know that I said it, but I said it. That it was the best ending that could have been given to us for what the season was. I was okay with Rue's ending because, like we always say, we don't like to give Sam Levinson a lot of credit, but when he does something right, he's got to get credit where credit's due. Unfortunately, he made a statement about how like that, most of the time the ending for addiction is not a happy one, and while we want it to be happy, we want people to overcome it. That's just unfortunately not the case, especially when you consider fentanyl. And there it was, you know what I mean? We put that in there. He gave it thus the not happy ending for that, and I do appreciate that because I can understand it.
Yeah.
Cassie, I will give more credit than people will give her for the most because yes, this was a wild fucking season for her, and we got a lot of shit that we didn't want. Ergo, the gorilla stomp, whatever the fuck that was, montage. I'm good off of that, but I liked her in this last episode. I think I think I was able to understand her a little bit in this last episode.
Yeah.
Fuck Jules.
Fuck Jules.
I don't really know how else to say it.
Fuck Jules.
I'm good off of that. We really didn't even get much time of her. Sorry, I'm like making my desk go up. We really didn't get much time of her. Anyway, I just, I was hoping we would have gotten more with that whole sugar baby dynamic with that guy being as weird as he was, and we got nothing of it.
Right.
And maybe there was, and they cut it. Who knows? But yeah.
I still feel a little odd. I know that you liked it. I did not. With Lexi thinking that the Bible is cool.
Yeah. Well, It wasn't that I necessarily liked it. I mean, I didn't love the overtone of just like it just felt weird the way they threw all of the like heavy like it was like so over. I know that like of course like there's religion throughout the whole thing technically when we're especially when you're dealing with addiction. That's fine. I mean throughout the whole series, right?
Right.
I just think they overthrew it this much.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had several other takes of being like, oh, it's like white national Christian-esque, especially with like all the Nazi propaganda and stuff with like Lori's people.
You guys missed it, but we talked a lot about that. In the recording you guys are supposed to get about it. We'll just throw that in there that there was a lot, and there's a lot of takes on that, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with them about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel really bad that I wasted like a decade of my life on this series for it to end this way, and I wish it was as beautifully done as like Euphoria Part 1 and Part 2 when that came out in like 2021 or whatever. I thought that was beautiful. But what can you do? What can you do?
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. You know, it's they're out of high school. You're taking off the rose-colored glasses. They're in adulthood. Yeah, sure. But it's Euphoria. The show's called Euphoria. Like that's, you know what I mean. I get it though. Maddie's ending, I was definitely pleased with. I think I was pleased with her ending the most. We talked a little bit about how Sam Levinson mentioned the relationship between Cassie and Maddie, and how it wasn't necessarily romantic, but it wasn't platonic, and they talked heavily about that. You know, Cassie was like this barefoot 1950s at the end, like almost housewife-esque, and Maddie's the husband going off. And listen, I think at the end of the day, they have love for each other, and it doesn't need to be defined. They're friends who, you know, they were each other's person who just needed to find their way back to each other, and unfortunately found it through tragic
means. Yeah,
I mean, when you're pretty toxic people, that tends to happen like that. So sorry, that was a little more rough than I intended, but it was true.
Yes,
it was true.
It's true.
But I was happy for her ending, because even though like you guys knew what I wanted for her, and she did technically get it. She did technically get what she wanted. She did get the girls. You know, she did make a content house. She didn't have to give up her money. She walked right the fuck back out of there without her money. We are going to give a high, mighty round of applause for Ali. Because that was a great ending for him. That was a great ending for him.
It was, just to go back to where like Rue wanted to be after she got out.
Yes. That was probably, I think, one of my favorite parts of the entire episode was him going there, because she talked about it. She had written it down, and he went there, and I said, and people had also said it about that girl. I can't remember her name right now, but how about how she cried more than any of Rue's actual friends. And I thought it was nice that he went back there, and he had that peace from everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, still hated most of the season, but like you have been saying, it's like the best that we could have gotten from what he gave us. So
for sure, absolutely. I mean, I don't really think that there was anything better that you could have done with what you gave us for that season. And I did like the little nod to Angus.
Yeah.
That was nice. I love that they talked about how that scene of him and Rue was actually filmed during season 1, because they had initially pre-planned for Rue to die, then it was going to change, and then Angus died, so then they changed it back, basically.
I think I'm like still very upset about that. Yeah. Because like Lexi and his like relationship that was building in season 2, it crushed me. Yeah. I think that happened before the season finale, right?
Before it aired? I know they finished filming.
Yeah, no, but I mean like before the season finale aired.
I think so.
Yeah.
I can't remember, to be honest. But I think maybe. And the one thing I did want to mention was that I think I had mentioned in another episode was that I understood. I think I didn't talk about this in another episode. I understood why Lexi was like so on guard and was like basically like F you all this whole season. She had every right to be. She had every right, but like just tell them to get the fuck out. Just tell them to get the fuck out.
She totally could have told them to get the fuck out.
Yeah. Instead, she chose to just open her big mouth instead and be judgmental towards everybody. Yes. And while I completely understood, and some of it was really valid, we could have just told them to go away.
Just leave. Get out of my house, please.
But it's the show. Nothing makes sense. So.
Exactly.
All right, I promise that's all we're going to give you guys about it.
Sorry.
Unless you have something to add.
No.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all. That. I'm sorry it was so late. We should have just did like a little mini thing on just the whole season of Euphoria with the ending.
We honestly should have, but we were having technical difficulties. It's totally fine.
Yeah. But so you guys were supposed to get a really serious one. We are still going to give that to you, but we were. Hello. Jordan just dropped her mic.
Mic drop. Sorry, go for it.
No, it's okay. We're still going to give you the serious one, but today we decided, since we had such technical difficulties, because that was what we had recorded the last time, we're going to do something fun, something I promised you guys that we were going to get. So let's get into it, because this is going to be a fun one.
It's a good one.
Now, imagine you're walking through a town on a hot summer day. You can now, or hundreds of years ago, I was about to say millions of years ago, hundreds of years ago, whichever you want. People are working, maybe there's vendors at a farmer's market, children are outside playing. Seems like a fairly normal day. When suddenly, a woman suddenly begins dancing in the streets. Not for celebration, not for performing. There wasn't even any music playing. Just dancing, alone in the middle of the street. And at first you're watching, maybe stunned, a little confused, maybe thinking laughing a little bit, thinking she's just having fun. And there's whispers, oh, maybe she's drunk, maybe she's eccentric, maybe it's a prank, some kind of maybe religious experience she's having. Who knows? Maybe something's going on. And some time passes, and you wander. I think I put wander. I meant wonder. You wonder, when will she stop? But she doesn't. She just keeps on dancing. To the point where you leave and come back, and she's still dancing. At first, for hours, and then a day, and then multiple days. And after multiple days have passed, out of nowhere, more people join her. Then more people join, and more and more. Those days turned into a full-blown month of dancing for seemingly no reason. And by the end of this dancing fever outbreak, people have suffered illnesses and even death. And everyone is wondering, what the heck happened and why did this start? Well, 500 years later, historians still aren't sure. So, yep, we're talking about the dancing plague of 1518. And strap in, because this is a little bit of a wild ride. And I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole in this one.
Did you really?
Oh, a little bit of a rabbit hole. Only a little bit. I deep dive, but not overly.
Okay.
Because there was some information that just wasn't available. Now, I told y'all when I did the Great Molasses Flood that I wanted to do this because, frankly, I somehow managed to go 29 years of life without hearing about this. Don't know how. I don't know how. And when you consider how much of a history buff I am, that's a little weird.
That's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe I've never heard of this until I started doing the molasses flood. And then I was like, which I had also never heard of. And then this, and I was like, there's this. There's also a beer one that we're going to do at some point that I told you guys about when I did molasses. So that'll be a fun one too. And this also just happens to be, wait, I found that this specific instance, that's what I was going to say, isn't even the only recorded instance of a dancing plague happening in this area. This is what I mean by I went down a rabbit hole. And it just happens to be the largest event of its kind and the most documented. I will say that a lot of the records that I kept coming across, though, seem to have come from years after the actual incident. So it was a lot of like retellings of the original like reports and like papers and newspapers, whatever you want to say. It just was a lot of like retelling later, but and somebody that was heavily involved with like researching it didn't come until like 8 years after. So a lot of what we have is also from him. And we'll talk a little bit about him. I don't want to talk too much about him, but we'll talk a little bit about him later. Basically, yeah. And it was a lot of it was redone in 1564. So like quite a bit of a way. Is away. And then, like I said, also 8 years after. But the actual story goes like this. In July of 1518, in a town that was then controlled by the Roman Catholic Empire of Strasbourg, France, a woman named, now I will apologize in advance, I completely forgot to look up the phonetic pronunciation of her name, so I'm gonna butcher it. I think it's Frau Troffe, something like that. Ooh. I will apologize. Something like that. Is said to have started it all. Frau had started dancing on the cobble streets outside her home. By seemingly all accounts, there was no music. She was just simply started dancing and wouldn't stop until she would fall from exhaustion, recoup, and then start up right again. Her husband is said to have pleaded with her to stop, but she would basically just ignore him and keep going. I mean, was she ignoring him? Or was something forcing her to continue? One person heavily thought that, well, not one person, but a very specific group and one man, led by one man, definitely thought that she was just ignoring him. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. This went on for like a week. She did this for a week. The fuck? By day 6, the local authorities, the local council, had started to step in and were like increasingly very worried because they didn't know what was happening. Her endless dancing was just causing a lot of concern, and it was causing so much concern that they had sent her in a wagon 30 miles away to Severn. Now what's in Severn? Great question. Frau was brought to the shrine of Saint Vitus, something like that. If you don't know who that is, I'm going to tell you the briefest version that I can, just so it makes a little sense for the story. Saint Vitus was a Christian martyr from Sicily. He is said to be this patron saint of dancers and entertainers, but he's also said to have the power to place a dancing curse on you, hence the dancing plague. I know. And I don't really understand. The why of the dancing. I don't know. There's a little bit deeper lore there on how he became the dancer, the patron saint of dancers and entertainers. I just wanted to give you the briefest version because I figured you don't really need all that right now. The accounts from this time did claim that the praying over Frau, I think it's Frau, at St. Vitus's shrine did help clear her of the never-ending dance fever. But what the town of Strasbourg wasn't prepared for was that by the time that they had taken her away to pray away the dancing, it was too late. Other people in town had started to mimic Frau. They would dance and dance and dance until exhaustion would take hold, and then dance and dance some more. Now, there is a word these people were called that I haven't used yet, but I do think is pretty funny. I know it's serious, but it is kind of funny to me. They were called choreomaniacs. Now, I don't know if they were called that at the time, but like the History Channel that I was like looking at, the Britannica thing that I was looking at, they were all calling them choreomaniacs. So that's what we're going with.
So good. Yeah, that is hilarious.
Like, I read it for the first time and I was like, what? One more time? And then it's like all throughout everything that I was looking at.
They're just obsessed with choreography.
Yeah, choreomaniacs. The town authorities or the Privy Council were going out of their minds trying to figure out how to stop this. They were like literally terrified of what was happening. Yeah. Local clergy insisted that this was the work of Saint Vitus, but the council ultimately decided to not listen to the clergy at this time, which is crazy considering that we were in the 1500s.
Yeah.
So
no, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I don't understand it either, but who did they listen to? The local physicians. Now I know. This should be a good thing, right? Wrong. Consider what time period we're in. We're in the 1518s. Nothing makes sense about science at this point in time.
They
Barely
used
anything makes sense.
Bloodletting for a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're about to talk about that. So what did the physicians exactly say? Well, they said that it was just overheated blood, which during this time would normally mean that those afflicted with overheated blood would need to be bled out to heal. But wait, this gets better. Shockingly, this time the physician said, no need. Just let them dance it out. It'll come out.
I'm so sorry. What?
They said, it's fine. They'll just dance it out.
They're just gonna dance it off.
Yeah. Just let them dance it out. It'll cut the overheating will come out of their blood and they'll be fine. They're gonna dance away the fever, basically. They're gonna dance away the dance fever.
Okay. I'm giving them grace.
So that's why I said you would think listening to the physicians was correct, right? No, they were wrong.
Wrong.
Like they usually were at this time period. So there's that. With this information in hand, the councilmen decided to have a stage built for everyone who was affected by this dancing bug. The choreomaniacs, as we call them. They also hired musicians to play for the dancers. I know. So they built in the town, like in the town center where all these, they built in the stage. They had musicians come and periodically like change out and play, and they moved all of the people that are dancing to the stage so that they could just have a proper dance floor, proper music, and proper setting.
Dance monkey, and dance monkey,
the
dance.
Counselors, it scared me for 2 seconds because I looked up and I saw him back there and literally thought it was my screen that I was looking at for 2 seconds. And I was like, why is there a cat? And I don't have a thing back there. I got sick. Okay, anyway. Sorry. So the counselors basically sat back and looked at this and said, this is good. Everything's good. This should definitely help them stop and get back to normal life. We're all good. They're in the proper setting. They'll dance it out, right? They were wrong. They were wrong. You see, this didn't end. And like a week or two later, the dancing plague was over a month long. So remember, Frau had danced for like 6 days, roughly. She had danced for like a week. And they took her away. And as they're taking her away, people had already started to mimic her. So like people, it wasn't like she just like went and then they were like, oh, we'll take over. Like there was people already starting to mimic her when they took her. And I think they thought that like taking her away would make whoever started just stop because they're like, oh, they don't have anybody to follow anymore. Whatever, we'll just stop. Well, they didn't. And then this went on for a month. So this started like mid-July. This didn't end until like August, September-ish. Like roughly around there.
Okay.
And it wasn't just a few people here and there that would start dancing and then start again. No, there were hundreds of people There were reports of people having strokes, passing out. It was reported that there were about 15 people per day dying from this. 15 people per day. And now we don't know the actual death toll. There is no actual death toll considering this. We consider, again, the times, the proper reporting wasn't always there. It just, there was a lot that was missed, so we don't have the actual death toll. But if this death rate were to be true, that would leave the final toll somewhere in the hundreds of people. Because, like, this is a month long. We're talking about 15 people per day, over 30 days long at least. Like, that's like
crazy. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sorry that
hundreds.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny, but it is also terrifying because these people aren't eating. Yeah. They're also not stopping.
They're not doing anything besides, like, if they were stopping, it was because they were stopping from exhaustion.
Yeah.
And then they would just start again as soon as they could start again.
And, like, that's actually terrifying to think about.
There were people that, like, you know, would have an emergency and, like, stop and whatever, but then there would just be, like, more people that would do it. And now the council had finally started to see their error here the longer it went on. And basically they were encouraging the dancing to continue by doing that. So what they decided to do instead was to ban dancing and music basically almost altogether until late September. I still don't understand why late September. I don't know if they thought maybe the summer being almost, like, you know what I mean, starting to cool down a little bit.
Like, I mean, thinking about like the fall equinox or something.
Yeah, like, I mean, then we know that's not till October, but I mean, it starts to cool down a little bit in September, so maybe he's thinking something like that. I don't know. There's literally nothing that I saw said it. If somebody did see it or knows, please tell me, but I don't remember. I didn't see anything. I think they just hoped that it was like a certain amount of time that would maybe get them to stop. And I will say that, like I said, they didn't ban dancing and music completely. It was allowed in certain settings, but it had to be a proper setting, like a wedding or some kind of celebration in that regard. And it could only be music that was played by strings, like string instruments. Anything else, they said, seemed like it was more likely to start hysteria again. So they said, like, you cannot have any drums. You cannot have, because I guess it was considered more rhythmic, where string instruments, you could play something slow and easy, and so they said nothing else, just string. On top of these, I know. On top of these restrictions, the council also decided that anyone who literally just could not stop would be bundled into wagons and also brought to Severn, like Frau, to the shrine of St. Vitus to hopefully be cured like she was. So these choreomaniacs who could not stop at all were taken 30 miles, still supposedly dancing, to Severn. And like, here's the thing. They weren't just like dancing like night. Like, this was like, consider like, I want to like almost trance-like, where they're just like kind of flailing their bodies around. It's not, you know what I mean? Like,
it's depicted like that in a lot of photos of the time, where they're literally flailing around in like circles and stuff. Like,
yeah, it's not like, oh, they're, you know, like do-si-doing.
Yeah, they're not
do-si-doing. Whatever. Like, it's nothing like that. It's supposed to be almost trance-like. That's what's happening. So they're literally just in this wagon, like flailing around to Severn, and they were prayed over like she was. The atmosphere was thick with incense, and the ritual was performed with crosses in affected hands and red shoes that were put on their feet. The priests would sprinkle holy water on the tops and soles of the shoes, as well as paint a cross in the holy oil. And these rituals apparently seem to work. So they don't know if maybe the thick air of the incense and the calmness of the praying, maybe it just had what it took to get them to come out of whatever trance-like state that they were in from whatever it was. And within a week of the council taking these course of actions, the suffering of the townspeople had trickled down to almost nothing. The plague, like I had said, had lasted over a month from mid-July to late August or early September. Many historians over the years have tried to uncover what could have possibly taken place. But before we get to that, I want to talk about one famous alchemist who visited Strasbourg 8 years after the mania took place. If you can't tell by my voice, I don't particularly care for this guy. He goes by the name of Paracelsus. Paracelsus?
I'll trust you.
Paracelsus, I think it is. I don't remember what his actual name is. I didn't put it in here. If you want to look him up, be my guest. He spoke with the townspeople. He spoke to those who were affected that were, able to. He read the accounts and he had his take on it. And this was it. That Frau, you guys know, I can't say it, I'm sorry, Trophea was just a ploy to embarrass her husband. He said, and I quote, "In order to make the deception as perfect as possible and really give the impression of illness, she hopped and sang, which was almost distasteful, almost, like not the word almost, like almost distasteful to her husband." He then went on to say that other women saw this and decided to join her just to piss off their husbands as well. Quite literally, that's basically what he said. There's nothing else to it. That's literally what he said. He said they were powered by free, lewd, and impertinent thoughts. Go ahead. Before I continue, go ahead.
Is it just because of the time where they were just like women haters?
Pretty much, yeah. He was a big woman. I won't even lie. I think it was Britannica that I was reading. Britannica, I love them. They're really great for a lot of history things. Basically said the same. No, maybe it wasn't Britannica. It was something else. It was I wish I had to say I do have it. It's just not on this computer. Had basically said as much, that he was just like a woman hater. If you read what else he's said in other of his findings of other things, he's basically just a woman hater.
As most men were at the time, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So we'll take what he has to say with a grain of salt. But he also had 3 classifications that he said broke the dancing mania. That he broke the dancing mania into. They were chorea. I'm gonna butcher this so bad. I'm so sorry. Lasciva. I think that's what it is. Chorea imaginita. Nativia. Yep, thank you. Couldn't get that out. It's all Latin, so my bad.
It's rough, okay.
And chorea naturalis. I think naturalis is used in in Harry Potter. So there we go. And what are these? In order, it's basically him saying that they did it without fear or respect. The first one that I had said, that it was caused by imagination from rage and swearing. I just couldn't say the Latin version of imagination, but that's basically what it is. And the last one, naturalis, was the mild form caused by corporal causes. And then I in my thing, I put whatever the heck that means, but then I put just kidding because I don't know what it means. It means that it was involuntary. So basically it's like you can't control, think of like a tick, like you cannot control the movement. You're just doing it because like if somebody has a tick, a lot of times if somebody like does something or says something that you could affect your tick from going off, that could be why there were some people that were doing it. They just involuntarily could not help but do it. Which honestly, I will give him that one, sure. Basically this guy, then I said what we already said. Basically this guy was just a sexist asshole who just looked to blame the women for everything. Apparently, according to his other findings for other things, this was basically just the way he did things. So we'll take what he has to say with a large grain of salt. Yeah, bad take.
I hate him.
Yeah.
A notorious,
he was a very
man hater. So he's not getting any points from me today.
No. but apparently he was a very esteemed alchemist at the time. So,
meaning that he's taking a bunch of drugs.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Sorry.
The problem is, no, this is so true. The problem is it was started by a woman, and no one knows why she started it anyway. So could this be a valid reason? I mean, could she really have just been trying to piss off her husband and just committed hard to the bit? We've seen crazier things, aka the witch trials.
I don't know if you noticed, but I pointed to me, being like,
I did notice. I just ignored.
Like, I've done wilder things just for the
AKA bit. The witch trials. A lot. It was started, unfortunately, by some young girls, and got crazy out of hand because she-man women haters. She-man women haters. I don't think that's the right phrase. I think that's just how it came out of my mouth.
That's the new phrase, guys. Let's start saying she-man women haters.
Is that what I'm gonna look it up now? Because I really do think that's what it is.
Are you sure? The way you said it, though, you were so unsure.
Yeah. She-Man Women Haters Club. It's from the Little Rascals. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was right. I wasn't sure though. I wasn't sure if I was right, but I was right. Look at me go.
Your child is so cute.
I know. You can hear her. She was just banging on the door. She's so pissed right now. But of course, there's always a scientific reason. A real one, not whatever the fuck that guy said. That could have also been at the helm as to why this dancing hysteria, these choreo maniacs, why this happened. Remember when I said this wasn't the only dancing plague in this part of Europe? Now remember, we're in France. Well, there's a couple of rivers over here, and apparently there were 10 more that were documented in this area along the Rhine and Moselle rivers. Moselle, I think that's how you say it. Sorry again if that's wrong. Over the course of 144 years. 144 years, over 10 of them happened. More than 10.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Between the years 1347 and 1518, all somewhat near Strasbourg, all while under the control of the Holy Roman Empire as well. Some historians believed that it was, I think it's ergot.
Yes.
Is how you say it.
Ergot,
maybe.
Ergot.
Ergot? I think it might be ergo. T's at the end are hard, guys.
You don't know if they're there or not, for real.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna be like, "You're a fucking idiot. This is what it is." I'm gonna be like, "You're right. I am an idiot. Thank you very much." I completely forgot. I completely forgot to look up stuff this time. I don't know what happened to me. I did this. This is great.
I think it's ergot.
Just threw it away.
I think it's ergot.
It's caused by a mold that can be found in stalks of damp-rye. That's what it is.
Okay.
The mold is considered mind-altering and can cause twitching, jerking, and even hallucinations. So, ergot.
Ergo.
It worked. The problem with this theory, though, was that according to historian John Waller in his book A Time to Dance, it's called A Time to Dance, A Time to Die. I'm sorry. There's a comma in it, so it spaced me out. He said that ergot, whatever it is, causes blood flow restrictions to a person's limbs. So meaning that even with the hallucinations, a person who was poisoned by this would not be able to dance for several days or even weeks on end like this, like the choreo maniacs did. So is it possible that it could have been a part of it? It's possible, but it would have stopped people very quickly from being able to continue. However, this mold isn't the only possible explanation. I promise I won't subject you to me saying it again, because since all of these dancing hysterias took place within roughly the same areas, something had to have been going on to cause this. And is it possible that it could have been stress of bad crops? Could it have also been some other kind of mind-altering mold or something? Absolutely. There were accounts of 1518 being a bad harvest year, And were there bad crops the other 9 or 10 times a plague of dance broke out? Now, here's the thing. This is where I said I didn't deep dive as hard. It was kind of hard to find the other ones. Again, we're going back in time. It's 144 years prior, and there was accounts, but it just wasn't as widely accounted for as the one in 1518. But there was also syphilis. There was the arrival of syphilis.
I forgot about syphilis. That can do fucked up shit to you.
Yeah, it can do really fucked up shit to you. There are areas around the world. This is not a continuation of the syphilis. Syphilis was kind of just the end of that. I didn't really have a good segue. I'm sorry about syphilis. That. Yeah, there was just, when you consider all of the things that syphilis can do, and it had basically been around during this time, and a lot of people didn't know what it was, or what was it? It was called something else. Until it became actually called syphilis. I forget what it was called. But yeah, it was around. And we have to also take into consideration all of the many other diseases that were around. And if we're talking about bad crops, now entering,
And also, like, bad crops, if, like, they're having a bad year, like a harvest season, like, they can fuck you up pretty bad.
Yeah, it can. And again, like, we're talking about now we're having stress. We're talking about like illnesses and diseases that can also fuck you up really bad, that can cause you to have some kind of hallucination. And we're also talking about like mass like panic and outrage. People we've seen hold on, I'll get to that because I do actually talk about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there are places around the world even today where people enter a trance-like state. Places like Brazil, Madagascar, and even Kenya. Again, this does not have anything to do with syphilis. This is just a bad segue. I'm sorry. These cultures are some examples of having ceremonies where people deliberately will enter trances or even involuntarily enter them during times of extreme stress. Like we said already, stress can do crazy things. John Waller, who I had spoken about before, even drew a comparison between the dancing plague and the laughing epidemic in 1963. We're also going to talk about that. Don't worry. This happened in in modern day Tanzania. I can't remember what it was called. It was hard to say, so I just went with modern day Tanzania for you guys. Calling it a psychic contagion or mass hysteria, which I was about to talk about. And I mean, think about that for a second. Strasbourg was under enormous stress in 1518. The region was experiencing famine, disease, economic hardships. There's religious anxiety all over the fucking place. I mean, high mortality rates. People genuinely believe supernatural forces could influence everyday life. We still believe that to this day, just not to the extremity as maybe to the extremity as before. I can't say that we don't. But it was a lot more so. I mean, science was not taking that into account as it is now. Many feared divine punishment. Others feared saints' curses. Life was just ultimately brutal. And under extreme psychological pressure, strange things can happen. We know this even today. Mass psychogenic events have occurred throughout modern history. Groups of people developing symptoms with no obvious physical cause, fainting, tremors, paralysis, panic. The human brain is so powerful. So powerful. So much can happen. And sometimes fear spreads faster than disease. Some historians believe that the dancing plague may have been an extreme example of collective psychological distress, a population pushed beyond its limits. And that's what I mean by mass hysteria. Like, you have one person and then a couple other people start to follow, and then it's just one thing after another. Now everybody's doing it for a different reason, whether they're being forced into this trance by stress because other people are doing it. They think that they're fearing some kind of punishment, or people are actually like, going through, famine, and being starved can also cause you to have severe hallucinations. So we're in the middle of a famine here, and they could be having hallucinations from that. Like, they're in disease. I mean, like, there's so many different things.
Right.
But honestly, that's not what keeps the story alive. What keeps it alive is the image that hundreds of people were dancing themselves into collapse in the middle of a medieval city, while doctors encouraged it, while council members and law enforcement encouraged it. Musicians played, there was a stage built, and nobody understands what's happening. And it feels like a nightmare or a curse or a scene from a horror movie. Honestly, this kind of gives me Midsommar vibes.
It does.
It has Midsommar vibes. And maybe that's why we're still talking about it more than 5 centuries later, because the dancing plague sits in that uncomfortable space between history and mystery, where we know it happened, we have records, we have witnesses, we have official accounts, but we still do not have any particular reason as to like certain reason why. We don't have certainty. And us as humans tend to hate uncertainty.
Yes, we do.
Yes, I do. I know I do. We always want an answer. And the dancing plague is one of those things from history that just refuses to give us one, because it's not something that we can track or go back and test. Like, it's one of those things in history that like you have what information you have, and that's it. And you can guess based on weather and crops and what else was going on, and wars and disease, and we can have a possibility, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So was it fungus? Was it a psychological crisis? Religious panic? Maybe a combination of all three? And the truth is, nobody knows. And that's what makes it one of the strangest stories ever recorded. Because sometimes the scariest mysteries aren't the ones involving monsters. They're the ones involving ordinary people doing something seemingly impossible together for reasons we'll probably never understand. And that's the dancing plague of 1518. Oh, I hate that I ended this and didn't put this in there, but it just popped into my head. The thought of religious cults was an option as well. It's just barely touched upon.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, it gives me like Game of Thrones vibes, you know, like when like the god of light like comes in, like that church that comes in to the Lannisters, like ruling. I'm scared now of syphilis and ergot poisoning.
Regardless anyway. Yeah.
I'm scared of all of the above because I'm sure all of them had syphilis back then. Number one, they did not understand about protection.
No, nobody understood what it was.
And also just like having unclean crops can really F you up, like really mess you up.
For sure.
So maybe it's like a mixture of both. Maybe it started out as a woman being angry at her husband and she's like, you know what, babe, I'm going to go dance in the town square and you can't tell me no.
Committed to the bit.
Committed to the bit.
Committed to the bit. So much so that it made other people go psychologically crazy.
And I want to be that woman that does that.
Yeah.
Guys, we're starting the dancing plague of 2026.
Yeah.
Meet me up. Meet up with me. We're starting it.
I don't know why that just gave me the clowns from 2016.
We're doing that again too.
Oh no, we're not. No, we're not.
We're gonna be dressed as clowns, just dancing.
No, we're not. I will be nowhere near there. Nowhere near.
Guys, join me. Rise up. Let's do it.
The dancing plague. Oh my god.
Nicole, that was a really good one.
Thanks. Well, whether it's crime, conspiracy, or just straight up spooky, we're gonna keep talking about it. Like, follow, comment, and stay tuned for new episodes each week because it'll just keep getting darker and spookier from here. So stay nosy and stay spooky, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.